Hello. And hello. Thank you for joining me today. So Eldar, which is like the coolest name, Eldar, sent in this video from Mark Felton Productions. Aachen, 1944. America's mini Stalingrad. Which I'm not much of like a history buff, so I don't know. There was a battle there, wasn't there? So I guess this is America's. I mean, I don't really know. I don't know. In the late 1944 Battle of Aachen, the first German city to fall to the Allies, was particularly vicious and resembled on a smaller scale the street fighting in the Stalingrad. And also, hold on. Yeah, Eldar told me I should watch this other video after I watch this video, which I might do tomorrow, of what Aachen looks like today. But for now, we're going back in time, 1944, into the thick of it. America's mini Stalingrad.
Following D-Day and the Battle of Normandy in the summer of 1944, the German army in the west collapsed and retreated towards the defences of the Westwall, or West Wall, known more popularly in the west as the Siegfried Line. The Allied armies followed hot on their heels, hoping to break into western Germany in autumn 1944 and finish the war early. But Allied fuel and supply problems ground the British, American, Canadian, and French armies to a halt.
Isn't it kind of interesting how these things never change? The fuel and supply problem. Like, hasn't Russia been having that issue for like a year now? Fuel and supply. That's what it's all about.
The Germans with precious time to reorganize their defenses and bring up reinforcements.
Oh, wow.
By late September 1944, the Germans had 230,000 troops along the Siegfried Line defences and 500 tanks and assault guns. They would make the Allies fight for every yard of territory to keep them out of Germany's industrial heartlands, the Ruhr and Saar regions. In the main U.S. area of operations, General George S. Patton's U.S. Third Army was tasked with capturing the German-occupied French region of Lorraine, on the border with Germany, while General Courtney H. Hodges' U.S. First Army would push through the German front at the city of Aachen and race for the Rhine River. The city of Aachen was not militarily important, rather it was symbolic. It was the first German city to be in reach of Allied ground forces and was the historic capital of the Emperor Charlemagne's First Reich, and a very stiff fight was expected for Aachen. Aachen was well protected by a 10-mile deep Siegfried Line defense system consisting of pillboxes, barbed wire, bunkers, minefields, and dragon's teeth anti-tank obstacles.
Dragon's teeth, holy shit.
Fighting broke out in the second week of September. Aachen was defended by the 116th Panzer Division at that time. Its commander, General Gerhard Count von Schwerin, demanded that the city's population
I couldn't say that name if you paid me.
Be evacuated to safety. This was not done. Most Nazi city officials had, however, already fled. Von Schwerin actually tried to surrender the city to the Americans. He wanted to spare the civil population from death and destruction.
Hey, well, at least he... For being a Nazi, that's a kind gesture, you know, at least spare those people.
Hitler ordered his arrest before this could happen. A new commandant, Colonel...
Oh, and he got arrested by Hitler? That's kind of like I consider that an honorable thing, to be arrested by Hitler.
But Hitler ordered his arrest before this could happen. A new commandant, Colonel Gerhard Wilk, was ordered to...
I don't want to say that, guys. I'm thinking about that as I'm saying it. That guy's obviously not honorable.
Fight to
for the record.
Last. U.S. forces of the 1st Infantry Division probed the defences, but supply problems slowed them down. Defence of the city and the area around it were the responsibility of some 20,000 Germans and 11 tanks from a variety of units rushed into the area. In October, more reinforcements arrived, including elements of the crack 1st SS Panzer Division Leibstandarte SS Adolf Hitler. But many of the ordinary German units were heavily under strength and using poorly trained troops. Major General Charles Corlitz's 19th Corps was assigned to take the city, consisting of 2 infantry and 1 armored divisions, plus heavy flank protection from other U.S. corps. The Americans intended to surround the city of Aachen, then use a small force to actually capture the city center itself. For 6 days prior to the assault, U.S. artillery and aircraft targeted German defenses around Aachen to little effect.
Wow. How does that have little effect? War is so weird. You shoot all that and it had little effect? You'd think it'd be devastating.
The next phase was the slow reduction of Aachen's outer defenses, taking heavily defended towns and villages and pillbox lines.
Pillbox, you said that twice now.
When you can't stand and you don't want to die, well, there's always a third way.
More German divisions and units were transferred in to help the defense of the city. Though taking heavy casualties, U.S. forces eventually met on the
Did he just let like a little dog out?
Though taking heavy casualties, U.S.
doing?
forces eventually met on the 16th of October 1944, surrounding the city of Aachen. U.S. casualties thus far were 400 dead and 2,000 wounded.
Holy shoot. Already? 400 dead? It's just crazy how there's footage of this.
Germans had lost 630 killed and 4,400 wounded. 530 killed and 4,400 wounded.
Okay.
Fighting off constant German counterattacks on the perimeter, the U.S. forces now had to deal with the city of Aachen itself. Only a single infantry regiment of just 2 battalions, the 26th Infantry, would try to capture it. Aachen was defended by a motley collection of about 5,000 German troops, including Navy, Air Force, and police. They had only a handful of tanks and assault guns to help them, but the city centre was a maze of narrow streets and alleyways, medieval buildings, and huge walls, perfect for defence. On the 13th of October, the 26th
So where are all the citizens when something like this is going down?
Infantry
I guess they've evacuated
attacked.
inward.
They were ambushed by German troops using the sewer system and cellars to move around.
This is just so crazy. Like, I wonder what it's like for people, anybody out there from Aachen today to see this kind of footage. Like, because here in America, the only thing, like, there's just nothing like that. There's like 9/11 and Pearl Harbor. But Pearl Harbor, you know, I don't know what kind of footage there is of that. Regardless, there's not a lot of footage of anything like, I mean, there's barely been any war on it. Basically, the American Civil War, apart from that, not in modern America. So it's just interesting, fascinating to think about what it would be like to see this.
U.S. armour had difficulty manoeuvring the streets and were easily picked off by German Panzerfaust rocket projectors and hidden anti-tank guns. The advance was made house by house, almost room by room. A 155mm howitzer was used, as well as U.S. armour, firing point blank at walls to knock out German strongpoints. U.S. infantry began to advance.
Oh my God, imagine being behind one of those walls and you see that thing roll up and point at you. That almost seems impossible to like take over that city with the Nazis are all hiding, and you're just supposed to go in and God, that just seems so difficult.
House to house,
without destroying the whole thing.
Avoiding the streets that were swept by German fire. Shermans were ambushed constantly. The damage caused to the city was immense, with many historic buildings being destroyed.
Damn.
German infantry launched constant local counterattacks.
And that sucks, to lose that history of all these buildings.
And used their handful of tanks to good effect. By the 18th of October, one of the last major buildings in German hands was the Hotel Quellenhof, the German defense headquarters, held by many troops and at least 300 SS. The defenders managed to beat off...
What's the difference between troops and SS? I mean, I know I'm not very knowledgeable, but...
several U.S. assaults and even counterattacked, overrunning nearby U.S. positions until themselves beaten off by heavy mortar fire. The Americans decided that in order to reduce U.S. casualties, 155mm guns would be used to pound German strongpoints to pieces. This way, buildings were simply knocked down with the defenders inside of them. Another infantry battalion was sent in to assist the 26th Infantry.
My God. History is so fascinating. Like, the older I get, the more I realize how fascinating history is. Like, I was sleeping every day in history class during school. Now I wish I was paying attention.
On the 21st of October 1944, the US forces managed to take the center of Aachen, and the surviving German garrison at the hotel surrendered. The US victory came at a cost of 5,000 casualties. The Germans also suffered about 5,000 casualties, with a further 5,600 taken prisoner. The fierce...
That's always been an interesting concept to me, that you take people prisoners of war. It's just interesting.
German resistance at Aachen upset.
Like, if you didn't know any better, if you were just like an alien looking down, you wouldn't think they would do that. Like, oh, okay, you give up. All right, fine, we'll take you and we'll, you know, we won't kill you. I mean, I know lots of them do get killed, but anyway.
Allied plans to continue their advance eastwards. The US First Army was then assigned to the capture of the important Ruhr dams behind the Hürtgen forest, which would lead to a bigger and far nastier fight than that for Aachen. But the important point was that the Americans had pierced the Siegfried Line and were beginning their inexorable advance towards the Rhine, Germany's symbolic final western barrier.
Wow.
Many thanks for...
So it was like the beginning of the end. Wow. It's amazing that this video has over 2 million views. Oh, I guess this guy has 2 million subscribers. Dang. Mark Felton Productions. Go check out his channel. That was super interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry for, I'm sure I said some extremely stupid and probably offensive things, but that's what you get when a stupid American just commentates over war footage. I hope you guys are doing good, and I hope I see some of you again tomorrow. Or all of you.